So our first speaker is Brian Dunbar. He's from the CSU's Institute of the Built Environment, and he's going to be sharing his thoughts on what it means to create healthy, thriving communities. Please help me welcome Brian.
Thanks, Chris. Good evening, everyone. Hey, I first want to say it's an honor to be here. And when I say here, I mean in our town, as part of our university, in a great region, and with a great group here. So thanks for the invitation to be part of this. I want to let you know that I think you're going to be part of a hopeful evening tonight, one where a number of topics and ideas are presented by our group of presenters, and then you have a chance to engage in conversation. I invite you and encourage you to take the information you get tonight and do something with it, both tonight and into the future, for the sake of our great place. So, what I want to take you through in my 11 minutes is about promise, and it's about some projects and some tools and frameworks, and talking about how to make our great city even greater. Where am I coming from? Well, I'm part of the Institute for the Built Environment at Colorado State. I've been part of that group for 20 years. And we, because we're part of a land-grant university, get to work on real applied research projects for our community, for our state, and once in a while for other states. So there's the kind of projects that we work on. And Austin, raise your hand. Austin is one of our interns sitting up front. He's a landscape architecture student. We hire students from different disciplines who work together with faculty, staff, and off-campus professionals to make our schools better, to make our office buildings, our campuses, and community designs better and better. And now that we've been around for 20 years, we're looking into the future, and we've just reestablished our mission, which is about healthy, thriving built environments. I want to talk a little bit about that tonight, and you're going to hear others talk about what thriving places are. I dedicate my talk when I talk about cities to Paul Solari, someone I had a chance to work for and learn from when I was a college student. Solari was a very small man with very big ideas from Italy. He came, worked for Frank Lloyd Wright, and then decided that some of Wright's ideas about making cities into places, broad acre city, everybody would have their own acre. He said, that's not how we did things in Italy, and I don't think that's how the world can survive. So Paulo set out to create arcologies. And he believed that architecture and ecology need to go together. What he taught me were things about the sun and how to use nature, and then how to preserve nature around our cities. And his biggest thing that he taught me was density. He believed that the more compact a city was, and that the more you save the natural environment, the better off our world would be, and our social condition would be, and our economic condition would be. So I dedicate a lot to Paulo from things that I learned from him years ago. I also have learned from other cities around the world. Curitiba in Brazil, thanks to a mayor back in the 70s, who also was a mayor in the 80s and early 90s, Jamie Lerner, was also an urban planner. And he realized that his city would be better off if they stopped sprawling and looked more inward. And so he created a great transportation system in the 80s, and it is quite a bit like our MAX situation. It's elongated buses. You quickly get on and quickly get off. You pay before you get on. So it's a quick system. It has helped their community thrive in terms of economics, in terms of social condition, and in terms of bringing more people together and really not wasting as many resources as most cities waste. They also have done some other creative things thanks to Jamie's vision. For instance, they didn't have enough money for lawn maintenance equipment in their parks, and so they actually have sheep that mow the grass for them, and they use the wool from the sheep for children's programs, so using the wool in various ways. And then look at the last bullet there. They have found a way to get the trash out of the cities by paying the poor to collect trash and then giving them a bag of groceries for their work. So some very innovative things that we could learn from Curitiba. I just had the opportunity to be in Melbourne in January. What a beautiful place. It's been deemed the most livable city in the world. I have a lot of cities yet to visit, but I can tell you it's the best city that I have been in. I encourage you to think about getting to Melbourne. You're looking at a river, and what you can maybe see is a little restaurant and bar underneath a bridge. They have done so many clever things in Melbourne to bring people together in a very clean, safe, friendly, life-giving way. It's very dense. Remember, I like density, thanks to Paulo. And yet, there's a lot of nature close by. That botanic gardens on the left and the right are very close to the city. The Australian Open was going on when we were there, and you can see how close that is to the city. And in one of the parks, they brought together so many people 3 nights a week for different kinds of dancing. My wife is in that photograph learning to salsa dance. Gary, tell me how she does in the future, next time you salsa dance with her. So anyway, a great mix, and what they're doing is great things for the social condition, which is having a great influence on their economic condition as well. But one of the most special things about Melbourne is what they call laneways. And they're really 60 different alleys in downtown Melbourne, each one different than the next, and each one vibrant. What you're looking at in the front are musicians playing. We ate in a restaurant right here. Over here is another great retail place. And each one is different. Each one is called out by a different name. One of them had 3 different coffee shops in it, in one laneway. It's an exciting sort of discovery that you have in the downtown, but I think it's one of the reasons that they've managed to have so much density and so much nature and so much life in their city. And I guess that sort of shows you that people like the laneways. If you want to take your wedding party to a laneway and get photographed, you know that must be one of the special places in their city. So there are steps that we can follow, and there's a lot of different tools and frameworks to get there. Using the right tools at the right time is an important thing. One place in our country that we look to is Portland. They've done some great things socially, naturally, and economically in Portland. And it started in the 70s with a plan. So what I've learned is you have to have a good plan and a good vision in your city. And they continue to do great things and be looked at not only by our country, but by other countries. And so there are a number of different tools. We need a tool, we need a framework, we need vision. And there's a number of them to choose from. At our institute, we've created something called Lenses. It actually started with a graduate student's thesis. And you can see it stands for Living Environments and Natural, Social, and Economic Systems. And we use this on projects. It's now being used on a project in Costa Rica, one in Boston, another in Philly, another in Australia. And so other people are using this framework to help them create comprehensive, sustainable, or maybe even regenerative places. And when I say regenerative, what we have, I think, focused for a long time in is how do we get to sustainable? And some people that I admire a lot ask the question, if we ask you how your marriage was and you said sustainable, we would say, what, I'm sorry, or you can do better, I think. And so can we also do better with our vision for the future? How do we get into this sphere? How do we give new life and new vigor with the places that we create? And I think Fort Collins is a great place. And it's partly because of our school district and our city and our university and our great businesses and the nature around us. So there's so many great things for us to build on. And I think we are a model for others, and we can continue to be that into the future. One of the things that we're excited to be part of is a new venture called Eco District. It came out of Portland. It's a framework, and Fort Collins has been accepted as, or selected as, an incubator city for the Eco District's framework. And so we're excited to work with the city, the university, and private interests and store owners and others, community leaders, in creating eco districts for our town that can help us focus on energy goals, transportation goals, bringing more nature into the city, and having more health and livability within our city. One of the groups that's working on this is the Urban Lab. And the Urban Lab is an idea that has come from University. It's an idea that has brought together the university, city officials, and others from the community to work together to experiment in helping our town create better and better places, while at the university we learn and teach about how to create better places. So what do thriving communities include? Well, I think the health focus is real important, and I think development and focusing on the city and their goals and business and their goals are all important. And I believe that using a framework and having ongoing care as part of that will lead us to better and better places and goals. And I also think we are doing some great things with the idea of laneways. We call them alleys and alley beautification. And Austin is another place that has done a great job with its alleys, and I think another place for us to look at. But I'd like to see us continue to push this idea. Now that I've seen more and more laneways in action, I really feel like it's an ingredient to make our place even better. And we have a number of good ones. We have more on the way. Stu McMillan was telling me today that a couple more are coming into downtown in the next couple of years. I'd like to see us continue with that and other ideas to make our place even greater. So that's the end of my spiel. And I'm going to be around here talking about thriving, healthy places. But you're now going to hear from some other great minds thinking about what can we do with our place to make it healthier and more thriving and more than sustainable. So thank you. Great job.